Let's make some noise. Come on.
All right. Thank you, Nick Foles, once again for that rousing introduction. And absolutely, let's make some noise. Welcome back. You're back. We're back. We are all here, assembled tonight, together again for another episode of The Final Word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network with your boy MattyB on the call on the Monday night edition of the program. Yes, we did not have a Sunday night edition. I warned you yesterday when I did the Fight and Final that there was an outside chance that I was not going to make it tonight or last night. I didn't. So I tried, but life gets in the way, and I do apologize. But let's let bygones be bygones, shall we? And let's resume here. A fresh start. It's a Monday, and I'm back. And the way I see it, with maybe the exception of Thursday, we might have a full schedule this week of programs. So that's good. Also, I can, it's good because I can be that filler in between the Phillies game and the post game show. So I'm like the guy that you can watch in between while watching the Phillies game. By the way, the Phillies are playing right now 2-0, or I'm sorry, 0-0, top of the second out there in San Francisco. So don't forget, here on this network after the Phillies game tonight, that's right, it could be 3:00 in the morning, and we'll be here with you as we will bring you the Fight and Final West Coast edition, the dreaded West Coast trip. And I really give a lot of credit where credit needs to be given because it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to do these West Coast games. And tonight, Pat Bernard will have you sometime early morning hours of Tuesday. Then tomorrow night, we Steve Fuentes. And then on Wednesday night, because we got a 4:00 start on Wednesday, so a reasonable time, Mike Lara will be coming at you. So we got you. Stay with us. Stay with me. We'll maybe watch the game a little bit together. But tonight, we got a good show. We got a good show every night. Joe, how you doing tonight, man? It's good to see you again. Thank you for tuning in as usual. Tonight, it's all about the All-Stars. That's right. The All-Stars. Major League Baseball has announced its complete rosters of All-Stars to include the reserves. Now, of course, there's going to be those injury people that are deciding they don't want to do the game due to injury issues. And so there might be some changes still to come. But the Phillies are sending 2, a far cry from the 8 that went in 2024. But I think the 2 people they are sending are definitely the most deserving of the members of this baseball team based on what has happened over the first half of the season. Kyle Schwarber and Zach Wheeler are going to represent the Phillies in Atlanta at the All-Star game. You could make it a case for Trey Turner as well, but you know what? As far as I'm concerned, MLB got it right. So we'll discuss the Phillies and the All-Star game tonight. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Phillies as we are gearing up for the West Coast trip before the All-Star break, a crucial stretch of 6 games that'll take the Phillies to San Francisco and San Diego before going on the hiatus of the All-Star game. And then after that, the 2 big shining stars in the MLB universe will be the draft and, of course, the trade deadline, as we're getting closer to that every single day. And I put a little thing up on the social media earlier tonight about whether or not, with all the back and forth that we do on this show and other shows, and you hear about it all the time, that the Phillies are not a complete product. And I don't know, honestly, if there's people out there that actually believe the Phillies can make the changes in season to save this season. In terms of, when I say save the season, I mean win a World Series, because that's what it's all about, right? Am I off the res on that? Can we agree to that? That it's nothing but a World Series would actually seem like success for this team based on how it's built and the amount of money and all that. So we're getting closer to the trade deadline, and we've already identified in nauseum multiple problems with this baseball team. And it all, to me, stems from the offense. Really, it stops and ends with the offense. Yes, I'm not immune to the fact that the team could probably use another couple arms in the bullpen. I'm still waiting to see who Jose Alvarado's replacement is. We haven't even gotten there yet. So, yeah, there's some cases that can be made for the bullpen. But I honestly believe if you're asking me, and if I had to choose between one side of the baseball to make changes with, and I can only make one change to one side, or not one change, but I can only change one side of this team, I'm going to heavily go on offense, because that to me has been the Achilles heel of this franchise for the last 3 years. Lack of consistent offense. And it's not, and I came to this revelation yesterday. It's not because of the players we have. We got good baseball players that play on this team. The problem is they're the same player. We got 9 guys, or I shouldn't say we have 9. We have about 6 guys in our lineup that are carbon copy of the other. And I don't care. It's not 1927. All right. This ain't Murderers Row. We ain't the Yankees. And I am not in any way comparing Ruth DiMaggio or, players along those lines to Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper. I'm not going to compare those types of players together. But we have the same type of player who are doing exactly what they were brought here to do. And I know there's frustration. I feel it too. Bryce Harper, to me, has been largely unimpressive in his time in this town. He really has, if you kind of look at it holistically. But they're the same player. And largely, they're doing what they were supposed to do. They're doing what they're supposed to do every single night, and that's hit for power. We here in this town, and again, I just came to this within the last 24 hours. I just realized it. We're wanting them to be something they're not. They're doing exactly what they do. They're doing exactly what types of baseball players they've been raised to be, trained to be, and how they go about it every day. They're doing fine for what they are. But we want them to be something else. We want them to be the total package. We want them to be able to hit home runs and then also lay down that ground rule double down the line when needed. It's not going to happen. It's not. They're just not those types of players. And the types of players that we have that fit that mold on this team are just not good enough. So to me, it begins, it ends, it starts, it finishes, it goes sideways with this friggin' offense and how they can be more consistent. I think right now with the 0 for 10 yesterday with runners in scoring position so far through 9 games of the second half, the Phillies are batting .216 with runners in scoring position. An all too familiar number that we've been dealing with on this show and with the Phillies over the last 3 years. So you can hem and haw, and I'm not saying you're wrong, especially with the situation with the starting rotation now with some questions at the back end, with Abel being sent down, Taijuan Walker getting another opportunity to be a starter, Aaron Nola's uncertainty. There's some uncertainty at the rotation, yes. There's absolutely a lot of uncertainty in the bullpen. But I believe the bullpen problems are not the pitchers. It's the manager. I firmly believe that if we had roles on this goddamn team, and I'm not saying that if he wakes up tomorrow and says, you know what, these are the roles, that it would fix it in one day. No, it takes time for that routine to kick in. But if you're asking me, if I had to choose one area to fix on this baseball team at the trade deadline or anytime, what would it be? To me, it hands down, it's the offense. I think they get enough pitching to get them to where they need to be. The pitching literally has carried them the entire season up to this point. Does anybody disagree with that statement? It's been the pitching that they're 54-37. It has not been the hitting. The hitting is chipped in when the pitching has allowed it to do so. So if you're going to put all your Easter eggs in one basket, if you have to do it, to me, it's all about the offense. It really, truly is. And we'll get into some of those trade deadline situations. Again, a long way to get back around to this one. I said a little bit earlier on social media, is Dave Dombrowski the right guy to actually do this? He has not proven any competency at all in season with the trades at the deadline. It has not done that. It's been really one disaster after the next. And now we're relying on him to potentially make some of the more crucial trades for this franchise at this trade deadline. What it could include or involve some of the future prospects of this team. Is Dave Dombrowski the right guy to make these trades? Do you trust him to do the right thing and make the right trades. And more importantly, is his time run out with this ball club? And are you getting frustrated with the lip service, essentially? That's all he seems to do is just talk. Are you getting frustrated with that? I hope the Phillies get rid of Nicky C. Joe, there are some names floating around out there. Nick Castellanos is one of those names I've heard. Alec Bohm, of course, is the perennial favorite to get moved. He's always in trade talks. Ranger Suarez is in trade talks. There's a lot of players that I agree with you should be considered to be moved, but I throw this back in your court there, Joe Hale. Who are we trading Nick Castellanos to? Again, when I look at the situation around Major League Baseball and I look at what we're wanting to get help today, right now, from the teams out there that are not going to be involved in this thing long term, right? As the cream is rising to the top around Major League Baseball right now. There's definitely teams that have fallen off. There's some teams that are falling off. And then there's your contenders. Do you honestly think a team like the Rockies, like the A's, like the White Sox, like the Pirates, teams like that are going to want to take on Nick Castellanos for what? I don't understand what Nick Castellanos could provide a team like that when he's coming up to one more year in a contract year. He's got a contract year coming up after 26. He's got a decent, not a crazy contract. These teams could take on the money. But why would a team that's rebuilding, because that's what we're trading these people to. We're not trading them to contenders. And if we're going to trade them to contenders, that's a real slippery slope to be doing that. And again, I don't know if I trust Dave Dombrowski to do that at all. But if you're going to trade these players, they're getting traded to bottom feeder type teams who we're trying to pick the carcass of. These bottom feeder type teams are not going to want a Nick Castellanos. They're going to want an Aiden Miller. They're going to want a Gabriel Cones Jr. They're going to want a Eduardo Taiz. They don't want Nick Castellanos. He doesn't fit their timeline. He doesn't fit what they're doing as an organization. So yes, but I am all about trying to move Nick Castellanos. I'm all about trying to move Alec Bohm, but I don't know if you can do it in season. I don't know if you're going to get any takers at the trade deadline for Nick Castellanos, unless you're going to trade him to a contender. And then what do you think a contender is giving you back? They're going to want to give you prospects back because they don't want to mess up the mojo of their team. You move a player like Nick Castellanos, you move a player like Alec Bohm, you move a player like that in the offseason when it's freewheeling and dealing with everybody. And teams look at Castellanos and say, you know what? He's got another year left on his contract. Reasonable amount of money. He could fit in nicely what we're doing in 2026. I don't know if they make that same decision at the trade deadline in 2025. I don't know if you're going to get any buyers for that. You're going to get people who want to move players to you. Absolutely. The White Sox, the Pirates, the Rockies, maybe not so much the Pirates, but they're falling, but they're treading water. But teams like that, they're open for business 100%. But they're going to want a prospect. They're going to want a high minor league guy in return. And that's another facet to this whole Dave Dombrowski situation. Do you trust Dombrowski to do the wise things here and to move the right players for the right players? I am notorious on the side of keeping your prospects where they are. It's funny to me that this is such a hot topic in Philadelphia about trading in season, about getting rid of the Aiden Millers or the Andrew Painters or those types of players, because what are prospects? Prospects are prospects. They're, they got potential. They're not proven MLB quality. I get all that. But we're talking about a team like the Phillies, who's got the fourth highest payroll in the league, has Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber on it, has Zach Wheeler on it. But we're constantly talking at the trade deadline, having to move our top prospects to bring in other assets or other pieces to the puzzle. Why are these pieces not fitting? Why is the team with the fourth highest payroll so constantly in the trade deadline crosshairs of having to upgrade in season every year. It's the same pieces every year that we're upgrading with. Have you noticed that? It's always pitching and offense. We're always looking for a reliever, and we're always looking for another bat. Every season, in season, we're looking for these guys. Why can't we get this straight in the offseason? Why are we such easy pickings for other teams out there when it comes to dealing away our prospects? Because we're trying to make a run at the World Series. Why can't Dave Dombrowski do this right in the offseason? He did absolutely nothing this past offseason. Nothing. Yet at the end of the season press conference, he went on and on about how I will be aggressive and try to upgrade where we can. They did not upgrade at all. Not at all. They actually got worse on paper than they were coming out of 2024. So how much more are you buying what that guy is selling, man? I mean, how much more are you buying? So that topic is on the table. Joe says he heard an interesting name that can solve the Phillies catching next year if JT walks. Rutschman from the Orioles. Rutschman's not a Adley Rutschman is not a free agent. He's not a free agent. Is he? Adley Rutschman's been in the league for like 5 years. Again, Joe, what are we giving up to get players like this? And why would Baltimore part with a player like that? He's the cornerstone future of the franchise. It's fun to talk about potential trades. It's fun to talk about them. But in reality, when you ground yourself into reality, the Baltimore Orioles are not trading Adley Rutschman to the Phillies for friggin' what would you offer for Rutschman? Baltimore, who is, last I checked, I know they've fallen on some hard times, but they consider themselves a World Series contending team. They consider themselves a playoff team. Not this year, but more than likely they consider themselves a playoff team. Why would they part ways with a young catcher in Adley Rutschman to the Phillies? For what? What are we giving up? You're going to trade Nick Castellanos 1-for-1 for Adley Rutschman? If you can do that, Joe Hale, you're in the wrong business, man. You need to take over the Phillies if you think you can pull that off. Again, it's going to come down to prospects. So I love the idea. Of talking trades. I love throwing names around. But the reality is just the reality of it. No one's parting ways with a talent like Rutschman for anything that we have currently on this roster. But they may part ways with the talent like Rutschman with a player in the minor leagues. So, and again, that's a whole other side to this that needs to be explored. Again, a trade. What's the trade? Give me your hypothetical trade. Hello, Mickey. How are you tonight, man? Hey, Matty, does Ranger get traded at the deadline? So we go back and forth about this. I just kind of went over it. I'll go over it again. If you can, sure, but who are you trading Ranger to? Ranger's a free agent at the end of the year. Is one of these bottom feeder teams going to say, yeah, I'll take Ranger Suarez off your hands for a half a season? Sure. What do you want? Who do you want? I'll send him back your way. That's exactly what I'm looking to do. I'm looking as a rebuilding club for trading for a competent starter who's got 3 months left on his contract. And I'm going to give you somebody on my team who I'm not necessarily long for the world with either. But yeah, that sounds fair to us. Sure. Let's do that trade. It's not a question of whether or not I would trade Ranger. It's a question of who you trading them to. If you trade them to a contender, what's a contender going to give you back for them? They're going to give you back prospects. We don't need prospects right now. We need help today. If you trade them to a bottom feeder is not taking Ranger Suarez off your hands for 3 months. It makes no sense to them. So again, these trade scenarios, this stuff about getting rid of players who I 100% agree. Now, Ranger Suarez, it'd be nice to be able to trade him because I don't think he's coming back. You want to recomp something. So if you want to trade him for players like prospects in hopes that you recomp something when he walks in free agency, then yes. But you're not going to get immediate help today. We're not going to get players that can come into this lineup and wave their magic baseball bats and we win a World Series. And that's what it's about right now. It's about trying to find the missing piece or two to get us over the hump. So, yes, I am all in favor of trading Ranger Suarez. I'm all in favor of trading Alec Boehm and Nick Castellanos and Bryson Stott, Brandon Marsh, Johan Rojas. I mean, I know I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here, but I'm all for moving on from players like that. I don't know if I can find a trade partner for that. I don't know who's going to dance with me on that. Who is taking these players off my hands? Who's sucking down all this stuff and giving me back viable assets that I can use in 2025? That's the freaking that's the bottom line here is I don't know who you would trade for or how you would trade. Who are you sending Ranger Suarez to? The White Sox? The hell's he going to do with the White Sox for 3 months? Trade him to the Dodgers, sure, but then you risk the opportunity of potentially seeing him again. Again, it's a double-edged sword. It's not as easy as everybody wants to make it think and be. Oh man, geez, Lord, you guys, should I leave? I mean, you guys just want to have a conversation on your own thoughts on the on Mick Abel being sent down. I've said that I disagree with it. Jesus Luzardo has had about 7 bad starts in a row, and they keep throwing his ass out there, right? Why is Mick Abel not given the same sort of like latitude, right? He's had 2 bad starts. He's a freaking young rookie pitcher. He's going to have them. I don't know why they sent. They sent him a PR move. I don't know. Has he struggled? Yes. Does he lack some confidence out there? Yes. Is he not tipping his pitches, but is he throwing off to one side and not delivering a straight ball? Yes. All those things. But again, Jesus Luzardo is probably one of the worst pitchers in baseball right now. And he seems to be plugging away every 5th day. Why can't we give Mick Abel? What would be wrong with giving Mick Abel another start heading into the All-Star break? What would be wrong about that? You know, it saves us from another Taiwan Walker experiment, which we're about to do. So why is Mick Abel not given the opportunity to fight his way out of a situation that he's in? And that's called adversity, and you deal with that in life, and you should have the opportunity to fight your way out of it. Again, are you going to ask me why Jesus Luzardo hasn't been sent down? So, you going to ask me that question, or why hasn't he been DFA'd? Why don't you ask me that question? Because I have a better answer for that one than I do for why Mick Abel got sent down. Honestly, you know, the guy's been in the minor leagues for 6 years. What more is he going to do down there that's going to unlock some secret sauce and some secret recipe to be a better pitcher? I've said from the very beginning that I wanted him up here last year or this year too, so that we can finally see once and for all what we do have in him, so that we can all go our separate ways if we have to, or stay together if we have to. Once again, we're back in this destructive relationship of up and down from the minors and all that. I don't know if it's productive for anybody at this point. I mean, how much more is Mick Abel going to unlock down in AAA that he hasn't unlocked yet? If you're dead set on him not making it at the major league level, then maybe you trade him, right? Maybe he is going to get traded. I don't know, but I disagree with it. I don't agree with it. Who would I like to trade? Who would I like to get the trade deadline? The problem, Mike, is this with me. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know who I'd want. Why didn't we get this team right in November? I don't see any assets out there. The names that I've heard, with the exception maybe of Kyle Finnegan, who I would be open to talking to the Nationals for. Other than that, offensively, no one moves my needle. This is not the time of the year that you're trying to retool this team. Everyone, and you included, Mike, think they're one bat away. I don't see where you see that either. There's so many problems structurally with this lineup. There's so many problems with the way they go about, the way Rob Thompson employs this lineup. You know, is Buxton coming in here to try to fix things? Yes, the nonsense about Cedric Mullins. I mean, are these guys the ones unlocking everything? Are we one bat away? We're not one bat. That's the problem. We're not one bat away. We're a whole half a lineup away because of the way this lineup is so imbalanced, and the players that we're asking to, play small ball, they can't play small ball. This is not the time of the year that you're trying to fix a lineup. This is the time of the year that you stock up and attempt to make a run. And I've asked this question a few times, and I'm going to give Dave Dombrowski some props here. When was the last time anybody has made a trade in season that has impacted them to the point where they won a World Series? What's the last player you can think of out there that was brought in by somebody at the trade deadline that went on to be an essential part of winning a World Series that year? I'm drawing a blank. So I don't know. I don't think there's anybody. It's more than one person for me. It's a multitude of guys. It's like 3. And that's like redoing the entire lineup, figuring out the situation in center field, getting rid of Alec Boehm, getting rid of Bryson Stott. I mean, there's 3 positions right there, potentially upgrading away from Nick Castellanos because we have too many of Nick Castellanos on this team. I mean, there's 4 positions right now that I think need to be upgraded on this baseball team. Oh, yeah, not to mention left field. That's 5. So there's 5 positions right now that need to be upgraded on this baseball team. And you're going to be able to do that in the trade deadline? Again, Mike, you're in the wrong business, man. Get your butt down to South Philly. Check in with the Phillies. Propose whatever you're going to propose. Get that job, and let's make some deals. But I don't know how you're going to upgrade 5 positions at the trade deadline. Oh, then also give me an arm or 2 for the bullpen. So we're going to upgrade 7 players. We're going to change the face of the team in a matter of a few days to make us run to the World Series. This is not going to happen. And the trade deadline is not supposed to happen like that. You're supposed to be going after 1 or 2 players that you feel are going to solidify your chances or put you in a position to throw you over the top. I don't think the Phillies are there. Phillies are not there. We're more than 1 or 2 players away from fixing this thing. So, and I don't like the players that are being thrown around offensively. I like Kyle Finnegan. Take him. But other than that, I don't know. This is probably one of the more blah trade deadlines that I can remember, too. There's not that much talent left out there. The big names that were available in the offseason, the Kyle Tuckers, the Pete Alonsos, the names like that, we could have had a shot at those guys. Can you imagine that? I'm just saying, imagine that. We had a shot at those players, but we didn't. We took Max Kepler instead. Jordan Romano, whatever his name is. We took them instead. Oh, Lord. Abel has options. I disagree. That's not why they sent him down. So that's all that matters. You have options. You sent down because you have options. I don't know why they sent him down. All right, let's get the show started. We're 29 minutes in. We haven't even started the show. Let's get the show started with our usual thing, our day in Philadelphia sports history. So let's strap it in, strap it on, strap it up. Put your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And here we go. On this day back in 1964, following a 7-4 National League win at the All-Star game, Phillies outfielder Johnny Callison was awarded the franchise-only All-Star Game MVP. That's right. Johnny Callison on this day back in 1964 became the first and only Philly to win the All-Star MVP. And the reason why they clinched it for him, he had a walk-off 3-run homer in the bottom of the 9th to cinch it for the National League. So Johnny Callison today, 1964, became the only Philly ever to win the All-Star Game MVP. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. We've had one. Wow. So there you go. Your day in Philadelphia sports history. Johnny Callison wins the All-Star Game MVP. So, but with the All-Star Game approaching, let's turn our attention to that. Zach Wheeler, Kyle Schwarber got the nod as reserves today. Kyle Schwarber will not be participating in the home run derby, thank God. Zach Wheeler will not start, so we have no starters. We have 2 reserves and a far cry from the 8 that we sent last year. Now, I also believe that MLB got it right last year by sending 8 Phillies to the All-Star game because there was 8 players on that team at that particular moment in time last year that were having lights out seasons. And I think MLB got it right this year too. They sent the two most deserving players from a very inconsistent 500-like season, to the All-Star game. And you could make a case for Trey Turner. I think you can. But a team that is a 19-9 May aside of being essentially a 500 baseball team throughout the first half, I think they got it right with Kyle Schwarber and Zach Wheeler. And I think they were the two hands down selections. I mean, Zach Wheeler, I don't know how you could say no to him. You may be able to make a slight argument not to send Kyle Schwarber, but bottom line is he deserved it and he's going to go. And I hats off to both of them. Thankfully, they'll as Brandon Marsh is floundering around in center field right now. I can't believe I just saw that. All right, a little update. We are in the bottom of the third. The Giants just scored a run on a fly ball to center field that Brandon Marsh lost. I don't know where he lost today. He lost it in the haze, I guess. He gets turned around, spun around, and the ball falls right in front of him and then bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. And is now 1-0 Giants. So did I mention center field needs to be upgraded? Did I mention that? And that's going to be an interesting situation because Logan O'Hoppe returns to the bank in a couple weeks. So for those of you that want to catch out and see the other side of that trade, head on down to South Philadelphia when the Angels are here. So you can look at our once catcher of the future doing this thing for the Angels as you watch Brandon Marsh spinning around in center field, losing the ball in the haze of the Bay Area and allowing the ball to bounce over his head for a ground rule double. So fourth worst trade in Phillies history, as per me. The fourth worst trade in Phillies history. Brandon Marsh, Logan O'Hoppe. Tell me I'm wrong. But I think the Phillies or MLB got it right. I think they got the All-Star game participants correct. Zach Wheeler having a lights-out 2.17 ERA type of season, coming off that complete game one hitter the other day, yesterday. Don't even remember when that was. Yesterday, has been entrenching himself over the past two seasons at least as one of the all-time greats in Philly history. I know there's some fans out there or people out there that want to tell me that Roy Halladay was a great Phillies pitcher. Roy Halladay was a great pitcher. His best days were behind him when we got him, and for the first year or two, he was lights out. But his cliff falling happened pretty drastically or severely. I don't put him in the category of the greatest of all time for this franchise. I definitely put Zach Wheeler in that category. He's done it longer, and he's done it more consistent. And if the Phillies are going to win a World Series in this era, I mean, Zach Wheeler deserves it. He deserves it for him. And I really hope for Zach Wheeler's case, they can work it out. But Zach Wheeler definitely going. And as far as Kyle Schwarber goes, one of the biggest turnarounds in my Phillies fan life, watching Kyle Schwarber go from a 185 leadoff hitter to a 260. Well, he was cleaning up. Now he's batting second, but the transformation of consistency that Kyle Schwarber has been under for the last 2 years have been remarkable. And he's played himself into a conversation of a new contract. He definitely has. I don't think the Phillies are going to get it done. I think Kyle Schwarber might feel a little jilted by the organization by not getting an extension up to this point. And it's a shame because I think he's got about 3 good seasons left in him. And it would be nice to see them in Phillies pinstripes, but definitely a turnaround of a career in Kyle Schwarber, the way has been consistently hitting the ball. The only consistent hitter we can talk about on this roster since in 2025. So hats off to him. Hats off to Zach Wheeler. And hats off to Major League Baseball for getting it right when it comes to the Phillies. If you're the Phillies, do you call Dave Roberts and tell him not to pitch Wheeler in the All-Star game? No, why not? Wheeler's going to pitch an inning. Maybe. He's not starting. He's going to come in for an inning or two. He's probably going to be in the back end. Nah, the hell with it, man. Give Zach Wheeler his opportunity, man. Give it to him. If he wants it, give it to him. I don't think you call Dave Roberts. I honestly don't. I think you let him pitch. Let him pitch. Let the kid play. Rounding out your other All-Stars, let's talk about the National League starters. Or let's go American League first. Starters are Cal Riley of the Seattle Mariners catching Vlad Guerrero Jr., who's been embodied in trade rumors for the last 5 years. He's your starting first baseman from Toronto. Gleyber Torres making the transformation from New York to Detroit pretty seamlessly. Actually, he's had a great year. Starting second for the Tigers. Jose Ramirez from Cleveland is going to be your third baseman. Jacob Wilson, the shortstop, young rookie phenom for the A's. Aaron Judge out there in the outfield along with Riley Green and Javier Baez. And your DH is Ryan O'Hearn. And that rounds out your starters for the American League. The reserves, Alejandro Kirk, Jonathan Ornada, Alex Bregman, could have been a Philly, Jazz Chisholm from the Yankees, Brandon Lau from the Rays, Jeremy Pena from Houston, Bobby Witt Jr. from KC, Byron Buxton from Minnesota, Stephen Kwan from Cleveland, Julio Rodriguez from Seattle, and Brent Rooker, the A's, don't call them Oakland, the A's DH is your reserves. Your pitchers, or your starting pitchers, Hunter Brown from Houston, Chris Bubik from Kansas City, Garrett Crochet from Boston, Jacob deGrom getting the nod. I didn't even know Jacob deGrom was back. What, back from his 9th Tommy John surgery? Jacob deGrom getting the nod for the All-Star team for the Rangers. Max Fried from the Yankees, UC Kikuchi from the Angels, Tariq Skubal, the reigning AL Cy Young Award winner from the Tigers, Shane Smith from the White Sox, and Brian Wu from Seattle. Your relievers are Chapman, Hader, and Munoz. For the National League starters, Will Smith is your catcher from the Dodgers. And I bounced all the way down here. Freddie Freeman from the Dodgers, your first baseman. Kel Marte from the Arizona Diamondbacks, your second baseman. Manny Machado, their third baseman. Francisco Lindor. Francisco, he's had a really good first half too. Yeah, I can see that. Francisco Lindor for the Mets. Kuna, doing it on 3/4 of a half a season, as he was kind of slow coming back from the injury. But he's your starting outfielder. Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs. Kyle Tucker, could have had him. And Shohei Ohtani is your DH. Hunter Goodman, Pete Alonso, Ellie De La Cruz, Brendan Donovan, Matt Olson, Eugenia Suarez, Corbin Carroll, Kyle Stovers, Fernando Tatis, James Wood, and Kyle Schwarber are your reserves. Your pitchers are Matthew Boyd, Mackenzie Gore, Clayton Kershaw is your legend pick, Freddie Peralta, Robbie Ray, Chris Sale, Paul Skeens. It's not starting. Logan Webb, Zach Wheeler, and Yoshimar Yamada. Jason Adam, Edwin Diaz, and Randy Rodriguez round out the pitchers. And there you go. There's the complete National League and American League All-Star for this year, barring, of course, injury replacements as we get into this. So, again, I think they got it right when it came to the Phillies. Let the All-Stars play. I agree, Mickey. Let them play, man. So this coming Sunday is the MLB draft. Are you guys covering it? We are covering it Sunday. I don't think so. I don't think we're doing that. Is it Sunday? Day 2. Actually, we might cover it. I'll let you know. We might do it. But I can tell you next week, during the All-Star break, with no Phillies games, we are going to come at you with our mid-season special of the Philly season. And also, we're going to finally unveil and do the end-of-season Flyers show. So we're going to fill up some time without baseball next week. And as far as the MLB draft goes, I think we might be able to cover that. I think I can do Sunday. I think I can. I might be able to. More to follow. All right, let's head over now to the Of the Night segment here on this Monday night. All right, the other night segment has been basically since last week geared strictly towards talking about potential Phillies draft picks at the 26th position in the first round of next week's draft. We've gone over some players, about 4 of them, that I think, if available at 26, Phillies should seriously consider taking them. And just to review real quick, they are, of course, the talented young catcher, the best catching prospect in this draft, Luke Stevenson from North Carolina. He's a no-brainer for me if he's available at 26. If he's not there, I will definitely take me some Kurtz Schoolcraft, the 6'8" senior from Sunset High School, Oregon, the same tree that gave us Nick Abel, throwing over close to 100 miles an hour as a senior. So if he is there at 26, definitely 6'8", man, 6'8". This kid is. If he's definitely if he's available, I'm definitely looking at getting him. And then we talked about the comp to Bryson Stott, Sean Gamble of IMG Academy in Florida. Again, if he's available at 26, the Phillies could seriously consider him. Let's continue on with who I think the Phillies could potentially draft at 26 with tonight's player, Ethan Conrad. Or did we do Ethan Conrad? Yeah, we did Ethan. I'm sorry, we did him last week. So Ethan was another player. And that brings us to this night's player, Slater DeBron. I knew I was done a show in a while. I was wondering. I knew we did him. Slater DeBron is an outfielder from Summit, Oregon. First jumping on the radar as an underclassman at the WWBA in Jupiter in 23, DeBron's profile took a step forward with his performances on the Summer Showcase circuit. Now, this is all, of course, summer of 2024. He has very impressive bat-to-ball skills with an advanced eye at the plate, understanding that his job is to put the ball in play and get on base. Let me say that again. Let's restate this again. Understanding that his job is to put the ball in play and get on base. Boy, oh boy, would that be a breath of fresh air. Then using his well above average speed on the base pass. Power is never going to be a huge part of his game, and some evaluators worry about impact, while others see some thump in his left-handed swing, with more physicality than Carroll at this stage. So there you go. We're drawing a comparison to Corbin Carroll for Slater DeBron, the outfielder from Summit, Oregon, another senior, 17, 18-year-old kid who probably will be available at 26. So again, if you're looking to potentially rebuild this misconstructed lineup with some more bat-the-ball kind of guys instead of power hitters, Slater DeBron, and what a cool name. What a cool baseball name, Slater DeBron. Would definitely be a player that I would consider at 26 if he is available. So there you are. Tonight's potential Phillies draft target, we went with Slater DeBron, and I think I only have one more left that I want to talk about, and we'll talk about him, I guess, tomorrow night as we are closing in on the 2026 MLB or 2025 MLB draft. Phillies taking at the picking 26th overall in that draft. All right, now let's get into our we started this a couple months ago. Really lost a lot of steam with it. Picked it up again last week. Let's continue on with we've done the worst trades in Phillies history. Yeah, we made a big to-do over that. But as Joe Hale pointed out a while ago, it's just fair that we do the best trades. And we started that again. This has been a little bit more of an inconsistent list because I've forgotten about it, gone back to it, forgotten about it, gone back to it. But last week we talked about the number 6 and number 5 best trades, in my opinion, in Phillies history. I believe 6 was the Lenny Dykstra, Juan Samuel, Roger McDowell trade. And number 5 to me was the John Kruk for Chris James trade. So tonight, that leads me to my number 4 trade, the greatest trade in Phillies history. So we're closing in on number 1. Number 4 to me is a no-brainer as well. And I might have this one a little too high on the list. It might deserve to be down in the top 3. But on November 18th, 1997, the Phillies traded 1993 Hero alum Kevin Stocker, who at the time, of course, in 93 was a rookie. So in 97, he was finishing up his 4th year in the league, was traded to the upstart Tampa Bay Devil Rays for a young player who only had 66 or 64 career major league games under his belt and was a huge unknown. And actually, I remember this trade was met with a lot of backlash. But that player would turn out to be Bobby Abreu. So the Phillies picked up Bobby Abreu for Kevin Stocker, a pretty one-sided trade if you look at how things worked out. Abreu turned into one of the more stellar Phillies of all time. Really was stuck playing on some bad teams. And just imagine if we would have gotten Abreu, say, 10 years later. Say instead of 97, we got him in 07. Wouldn't that have been, can you imagine Bobby Abreu playing along with Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins? Imagine Abreu in that era of Phillies baseball. Good God. I think we would have gotten more than one World Series championship. But on this day back, or not in this day, but in 97, in November, the Phillies traded Kevin Stocker for Bobby Abreu, a perennial Hall of Famer. His name is brought up a lot about potential enshrinement into Cooperstown. And one of the best all-around, I think, hitters that we've ever had in this organization, just was cursed with playing on some bad baseball teams. And yeah, so there you go. Number 4, Bobby Abreu for Kevin Stocker. Pretty one-sided trade after you look at things holistically. And that leaves us with the top 3. So we're coming down the home stretch with the best Phillies trades of all time. So stay tuned as we're going to finish it up probably this week. We're going to finish it up this week. All right, let's move on to my favorite time of the night. Yeah, MattyB's card review. Luckily, over the last few weeks, it seems, we've been out of the 87 tops market, and that's great. I think we've all have had our fill of those cards for a while. We started kind of tapping into some more recent cards. I thought we talked about the Paul Skeens 2025 last week. Tonight we're staying in 2025, and we're staying with tops. And we're in Series 1 tops. So for you baseball card aficionados out there, you already know how this thing goes. You got Series 1 that comes out in February. Series 2 comes out in June. Chrome comes out at the end of July. Chrome Updated comes out around the early part of September, and the holiday cards come out in November. So we're about halfway through the Topps baseball card season when it comes to release date of cards. And now there's some lesser, like Topps Heritage. They've been out for a little while. Topps does little special type sets that they throw out, throughout the year or throughout that season. But the main ones, the main set your clock by type cards, are Series 1, Series 2, Chrome, and Chrome Update. So we are deep into Series 2 for release dates. So if you're out there at your local card shop or your corner store, and you see some baseball cards at the counter there, it should be the Series 2 variant. That's the big push right now. Then Chrome is going to be coming out in about a month. When we get into the Chrome and the Chrome Updated, that's when the money starts to, that's when you start looking at big money when it comes to these cards. But we're going to talk Series 1 tonight that came out in February. And this was a relic card that came out in Series 1. And it was multiple variants of relic card. And I'm going to show it to you right now. It is the 2025 Francisco Lindor game-used relic jersey card. Now, I want to pay special attention to this card, the way it's designed. It's got the 35th top, so it's a throwback to the 35th anniversary of the top season. And of course, it's got a piece of game-worn jersey. Now, it's the white jersey with the blue pinstripe. It's a common card. This is the card that you find all over. I've been able to find all over databases when it comes to trying to price out this card. I don't have this variant. I don't. I'm going to show you the variant I have here in a second. But I have this card. This card came out in 3 different variants. This one, the blue and the orange, and the one I have. I can't seem to find the one I have on any database. So I'm pricing this card pricing my card based on what I see through the other relic cards. But it's a pretty cool card. Topps 2025. Decent look. And again, this is a throwback to the 35th anniversary season. I think that was 95, if I'm not mistaken. Or 90. Was 90 the 35th? I think 90 was. So this is built along the style of the 35th. It's got the 35th anniversary little stamp there on the corner. And of course, it's a relic card. Anytime you're dealing with relic cards, they're always going to be pretty good when it comes to pricing, regardless of the player. And typically, they only put out players that are, popular when it comes to the relic cards. But this is a pretty smart looking card. I like the 35th anniversary nod, the style design to it. And of course, I like relic cards. And I'm going to show you again. This is the one I have. As you can see, I got the black one. I got the black uniform relic card. This card I have not been able to find on any database that I've looked at. Now, the white one that I just showed you on our little slide there, it's about $15 for a 2025 Francisco Lindor relic card. It's a pretty nice little, it's pretty hefty. I'll accept that. And I would definitely, that's worth something to me. So if you come across this card in your 2025 Series 1 Topps cards, obviously if you come across any relic card, to include Mick Abel. That's right, Mick Abel. Mick Abel has a relic auto in Series 2. Series 2. No, Series 1. Series 1. It's out there. It's floating around. I've seen it. It's a 1 of 1. So if anybody has it, obviously, but it's there. But any relic card is worth a lot. Expect to also see Mick Abel's rookie debut patch relic card come out sometime in either the Chrome or the Chrome updated later on in the season. But any kind of relic card is worth something. I thought they really hit a home run when it came to putting relic cards. I got a bunch of them. I got a Wade Boggs relic card with a piece of bat. I got an Aaron Judge relic card with a piece of uniform from his rookie season. That's a pretty hefty card. I got a bunch of relic cards. Ken Griffey's. I got a Ken Griffey Jr. relic card when he was a Red, part of uniform. So I got a bunch of these relic cards. They're definitely the more financial. If you're looking to make some money, that's what you're looking to get, is those relic cards. So there you go. Tonight, our card review centered around the 2025 Series 1 Francisco Lindor relic card. And it's the black relic, not the white one. And I have not been able to find it. It's coming year for Alumni Weekend. It is the 08 93 Phillies. So that's pretty cool. That's very cool. That's very cool. So Bobby Abreu will not be there, but Kevin Stocker will. So will John Kruk, obviously. But very cool. Very cool news from Joe Hale reporting that the 08 93 Phillies will be featured in Alumni Weekend this coming August. Alumni Weekend is always fun. That's when Jimmy Rollins and Ed Wade will get enshrined in the Phillies Hall of Fame. A little scoring update. It is now it's still 1-0 Giants as we are in the top of the 5th. Again, the Giants scoring a run. I don't know how they scored the Brandon Marsh, or I don't know. It's an error to me, but I don't know how they scored that. But 1-0 right now. Giants are up in the top of the 5th. And make sure you stay here on this network after this show, because after the game tonight, we'll be back at you with the Fightins final in its entirety sometime, hopefully not too late. And Pat Bernard will have you covered on the program. So make sure you're checking it out and checking back in. Bobby Abreu will be there. Why? Bobby Abreu was not involved in any of those teams. But whatever. I met Bobby Abreu. I interviewed him a couple of years ago up at the Hall of Fame. He was part of every year they do a Legends game where they take legends of the past, Hall of Famers or fringe Hall of Famers, and they do like a mini all-star game. They take American League players and they take National League players and they play each other at Doubleday Field. And I covered it for EOP a couple of years ago, and I was up there and I actually have an interview with Bobby Abreu. He was a good dude. Good dude. But anyway, no, so that's right. He is in the Hall of Fame. That's right. He's a member of the Phillies Hall of Fame. All right. Well, that's going to wrap me up tonight. Not bad show. A little less than an hour. We talked a little bit about the All-Star situation where I think Major League Baseball got it right. We went over again on the what's turning into one of the hottest topics in town is the trade deadline. And really, what are you expecting Dave Dombrowski to do? And I honestly want to know. And do you trust him to do it without draining the minor league system? Because that's exactly what's going to have to happen if he wants to go all in. And is it even worth going all in? Are the players even there to go all in with? And are you running out of patience for Dave Dombrowski? And if they don't win a World Series this year, and we didn't talk about this, maybe we should have. But if they don't win a World Series this year, Is it time to start breaking this team apart? Is it time to start retooling before we have to rebuild? Again, maybe we'll save that conversation for tomorrow. But we talked about that. We talked about a little bit about the Phillies, and of course, your greatest trades in Phillies history, your card review, and then your of the night segment. All those great things on the program. I had a blast, you guys. I hope you had a blast too, and we will get all systems go for tomorrow night. I'm looking like I will be back here tomorrow night for a regularly scheduled show. So make sure you're tuned in. And make sure you keep watching the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Please like, share, and subscribe on all the platforms. I would really would appreciate it. So until we talk again, you guys have a great rest of your night and even better tomorrow.